Well, hi everyone. Welcome to another wonderful DB Talk Show. I'm one of your co-hosts here, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and I'm joined with Daniel. How are you doing tonight, Daniel?
I'm doing good, John. Thank you for asking. I am so happy and marvelous to be here in this wonderful platform, the Big Talk Show. Thank you, John.
You're welcome, and we have a guest with us today, Billy. Welcome to the DB Talk Show, where we talk about a lot of different spiritual topics, and we try to help people understand that with faith and with Christ and with our religion and belief, we're able to do some amazing things.
All right. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you.
Well, welcome. And I didn't get to ask you, where are you tunneling in? Where are you zooming in from, or chatting in from today? Where part of the country or world are you in?
Well, I'm in a capital, like I'm in Santo Domingo.
Okay, very nice. Okay, great. Okay. All right, Daniel. Well, let's kick this off. I want to share something very interesting,
Yes,
um,
yeah.
and this is a very interesting point that I recently learned. I'm always learning things, as you know. And so there's a point, and it's called shaloma. I don't know if you know it. So
Okay.
shaloma was actually first used by our Lord. Shaloma is a word that if we repeat to ourselves, either out loud or let's say in our minds, at least 10 times a day, and feel that word shaloma,
Okay.
we will instantly raise the vibration of our body and let the
Okay.
universe know that we are ready to receive. Shaloma has been known as a miracle word. It was first used by Christ many centuries ago. And I
Okay.
just thought it was a very interesting word. It's used a lot by the Buddhists. It's just Shaloma, shalom.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. So
Perfect.
let's get
Wonderful
into what
word.
you want to talk about today, Daniel. I think you said the importance of real estate, right? The importance of
Correct.
real estate
Correct.
growth. So before we can dive into that topic, I think the first important thing to understand is what is real estate. So, Billy, why don't we start right there with you and just let people understand. I mean, it sounds like a very fancy and very glorified word, but what really is real estate?
So the question is to me, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that questions, and I will have a just a short answer about that question. Real estate is just I cannot say that. Real estate is something like we can count as an asset, so people can invest on something which is like a property. So either for to have rentability on the short time and long time, or either for resales. So that's on a short word. That's what is real estate. So or also we can so based on the research we have made also with through the different platform, so we can also talk about like importance of real estate too, so which is something that can bring the definition of real estate. So real estate is a charge of driving domestic growth, so we can say you can say it like that. So invest in something, like invest a money in a property and have a rentability after a short time or a long time, or either like so that's basically a real estate, I could say.
So real estate comes down to being a basic, tangible.
Exactly.
It could be something tangible like could be a building, that could be a commercial building, it could be residential building, it could be a condo building, or in your terms, it could be something used as a second property,
As
like
a
an
second
investment,
property.
as a second,
Yes.
like an investment property,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
when you use an investment property, you get certain benefits on a primary property. You also get certain benefits too, but you can only write off things on your primary property. On your
Yeah.
secondary property for your income, there are benefits. But let's talk a little about the steps of, so let's say somebody's new to real estate, and What's the first thing that somebody needs to know? Maybe they bought their house, or maybe they're still renting a place. So what do you need to know real estate? I mean, what can somebody get going? People might say, "Well, gee, I don't have $10 million. I can't buy a Donald Trump house or Trump Tower." So where do I start? And what should somebody know about real estate?
Well, I would say real estate is something like um on the economy of the word. Real estate is something like, I will say like that. I will say like that. So everybody should be in real estate. Everybody should like at least have on knowledge. It's because it's not, as you mentioned right now, as you mentioned earlier, it's something like tangible, so you can touch. So when you invest in real estate, so it's when you thinking about real estate, it's something like very important. Let's talk about the importance first, before I go directly to that questions. So
Mm-hmm.
as I mentioned, so let me read that word for you. So we see real estate, like for the property sector, is one of the most important sector for any country's economy. So I will continue to say real estate industry has created job, building communities, and increase family health. So if someone would like to start in a real estate, so what will be the first step? What would be the things that it brings to your mind? So it's like, wow, have something like tangible, so that I can count on it for on the future. So the first thing that person will say or will ask himself, why would I invest my money in that? So if something I would like to, okay, in 2 years I will no longer live in US. I will no longer be in Europe because it's so cold. There's a lot of snow and stuff like that. So I'm gonna retire in a different country, or I'm gonna retire in 2 years. So I'm gonna buy a house. So for retirement. So what would be that could be the first one of the first uh, um reason the person like can like have to think about it. Why what is the reason why I will engage myself to real estate? Or it could be also, let's say the person could say, okay, I'm gonna invest, the reason why I will invest my money is because I need to have a second home. Let's say I would like to have a second home. So you have you invest your money in a property. So and tomorrow, on a short time or on a long time, you're gonna have something back. So the in general, what would be the first thing that the person have to say himself? It's why I will invest my money, or why I would engage myself in real estate. So that's the first thing the person has to ask himself.
Okay, so when we think about real estate and we think about market research, that's probably the best place to start. How does one go about doing market research?
Sorry.
How does one go about doing market research?
The like to go to the like that's a very nice question. So the person first, because it's not only when it comes to be a be a owner of a property, it's not only to buy the property, as you mentioned. So the person has to investigate about that investment I will go with. So as I said, what will be what's going to be the reason? What is going to be the reason why I invest my money in the property? And now your research has to be on the prop after you answer that question to yourself. Okay, so let's say I'm going to retire. Okay, now where you're going to invest that money? Where you're going to have that property? So it's very important. The location. The location is very important. So the research has to go with the location, the benefit, and also the benefit the property will brings to you, and also the third time is what will be the annual fees and that place that I will invest my money. So what will be the procedure, the legal procedures that I have to start in order for me to get this apartment. So those three things the person has to investigate about it. So the location, because you cannot invest your money in any place like that. And the second one will be the benefit that brings to me. Okay, so I'm gonna invest my money, even though that would be my second home. Wherever you have to investigate what will be the benefit, at least two benefits, so you can have. And the third one, the third investigation the person has to make on the trade market, it's the legal procedure. The tax was going to come with the transfer the property document, like you so but for example, if I sell you a property, in order for me to transfer that document to your under your name, so there's a fee that you have to pay in everything. So the person has to ask everything when it comes to the tax, annual tax, and the legal part on that property. So you would like to buy, after you answer yourself, what would be the reason why I will invest my money in the real estate?
Okay, so the question still comes is somebody's green, they've never done this before. How do you go from being a homeowner to now being somebody who buys property as an investment, as something to turn their liquid into an asset?
That's a very nice question, also. So John, you so smart with that. I don't know if you have knowledge about what you asked. A very nice question for
Thank you.
well the yeah. So the person, once the person investigate about those two things that I just mentioned right now. So after that, how we start with, okay, so take the decision right now. Okay, I'm going to buy, let's say I'm going to buy in Florida. So what Florida could bring to me? So it's so one of the best things, also I will suggest someone who would like to start. uh okay, so I say myself, let's say John say himself, okay, I want to be an owner of a house, like I want to live close to Donald Trump, so the first, yeah,
Be careful, Billy.
yeah, that's yeah, because that's amazing to be a property owner. That's a good thing, and I am, as I mentioned, always to my clients. So I always tell them, okay, I am a family man. I'm a family person. So as a man, the first thing you have to bring to your family is a place to be, is a place safe. You save them with a place which is yours, which is our place. So the first thing that you have to start, you have to put a contact with agency, or with real estate, like with real estate agent, because most of the time there's a many procedure, many process to have an. I'm not saying people cannot do it by themselves. There's people can do, I absolutely, but that will bring you a lot of stress, because it's a long process. Because to be an owner of a condo, of apartment and house, that could even like take you over 6 months, like almost 1 years. So to be an owner on an apartment, let's say that is a project, the builder is because one of the things that people have to know too, um builder start build the project. So the commercial marketing they already start with, and the price is different. So the
Hmm.
price of the unit when it's already built, it's more expensive when they're doing, like when doing the constructions. So and during that constructions, the builder it's on the process to build the unit for you, the house for you. So on that process, it might take over 1 year, and in that year, so that will be a long process. So that's why, for me, I would suggest anybody would like to be an owner of an apartment, to get in contact with agent, real estate agent, ask questions because it's a long process and sometimes it's stressful. Because the first thing is, John, I would say, let's say you say, okay, Billy, I would like to be an owner. There's a first procedure that I have to do with you. I have to know you, know like why you would like to invest, why you would like to buy the apartment, in order for me to make the good selection for you. And also after know why you would like to buy, the idea of I'll be an owner, or if your family. So after select make the selection for you, or suggest you, okay, that property will be better for you because as you have three childrens, so a bedroom of three apartment is the best for you. So
Mhm.
after all those that, so we have to sign up we have to sign up the contract. There's a down deposit after done, and those process, they are very very long process, and sometimes they're difficult. So the first thing I will advise or would suggest someone who would like to be an owner is get in contact with a real estate agent.
And I think a lot of times I want to share this with you. So, owning a few businesses and also owning some property, I can tell you that in the commercial world, I had first thought because one of my companies does a lot with buildings like access control systems, networks, wiring, and I thought it would make sense for me to build my own building, commercial building, maybe 40,000 square feet. And I thought about it, and it seemed like a great idea at the time. And then I asked myself, why do I want to do this? And I want to do this, one, to increase business, but two, so I don't have to pay rent every month or mortgage every month. And I said, well,
Exactly.
and then I said to myself, do I really want this headache for me, for a commercial building? Because if I build a commercial building and let's say I have three pieces in there and I lease out all the other, now I'm a landlord. And so either A, I've got to have staff that can handle this, or I've got to be the person to handle that pipe that broke and call the plumber, or I've got to be the one that handles tenant issues. And so what I want to say is, even though it might look very green on the other side, to buy or build a piece of commercial property, a wise person who was a multimillionaire told me, he said, John, he says, that's an admirable goal to do that. But stay in your business. You're not in the building industry. I've been doing this 40, 50 years. You're not in the building industry. You can do what you want to do and work in the buildings, but building your own building is not going to make you any more successful. And I
Exactly.
pondered that for a few months, and I realized if I want to buy a one or two family home or a condo building and I hire a super, okay, to manage it, that's one thing. But building a 20 or 40,000 square foot commercial building and then having to be the one that has to manage all those contracts, the ins, the outs, that's a whole business in itself. So the
That's
question
a
I say to
whole.
everyone, are you really looking to start another business? And I said to myself, no, I'm not looking to be a commercial place. I thought I was because there's a benefit. I'm going to get a free space, but really it's not free because I'm going to have to work for it. I'm going to have to hire and do fit ups at buildings, and I have to make sure I do all that and make a profit, or I could be upside down. So
Yeah.
doing this is not an easy thing. So what I tell people is that if you're going to buy something like a home, and you could do a two-family home, buy a two-family home, okay, and live on the first floor, and then rent out your second floor. Make that your first investment. So this way, it's an income. It's your primary resident, but your second floor is an income property.
Yeah.
And if you can't handle that, you definitely don't want to go into buying um, another commercial or residential. Who do you think, Billy, are good candidates for buying? And I'll say commercial because everything's commercial, even though it's
Yes. Yes.
residential. It's still commercial because if you're buying a condo, it's still a commercial property, like in an HOA. that's where basically an HOA is where an association takes care of all the responsibilities outside of your walls too, and you take care of all the responsibility inside the walls too.
Okay.
So, who is a good candidate? Who would you be looking to talk with, or who do you think is the best person that should consider investing in real estate besides your home?
Investing investing in real estate, right?
Mhm.
Well, any person who like any person who himself on the business, any person who like to grow economically, so should I can't invest in real estate. So because as you something that you mentioned very important, Mr. John, it's because let's say I rent an apartment, you are an owner, and I rent an apartment like paying you monthly, but it's not gonna be mine. It will never be mine. So
Right.
exactly. So why I would invest in myself? Why I would invest in some money in something I will pay monthly and that's gonna be mine at the end of the day. So I think everybody can be an owner a commercial place anybody, and I will advise someone who see himself like in future like you to be an owner, not only one apartment or a different apartment or a different like commercial place, so to like start thinking about it. And also like I used to see people have a lot of money in the bank. They have $1 million, like not $1 million in the bank, but $1,000 in the bank, but they never invest that money, okay, in something that would be an asset tomorrow. So I have people that I know do that. I'm not saying it's a mistake, but it's something like, well, if you take like smartly, so you will not do that. So and also when you invest in a commercial place, it's
Mhm.
a building, so it's not like a food that can be, that can be uh, that is not gonna good tomorrow. But no, that's something you invest your money, and over 2 3 years it's increased money. It's the different place. It's a different price because I have people to like buy an apartment after 2 years, so that 70,000 or $70,000 they pay after 3 years or 5 years, that $70 it's become like $90, 90,000, because when you invest your money in real estate in any commercial place, that asset, that investment like keep generate money after many years. So I would say everybody has to do it, and everybody can do it. You just have to be you just have to have someone who know, as you mentioned, you don't know, you're not in that industry, so forget about it, or find someone who knows and can like can um um there's
Well, we got
someone
a
like
question here. Good night, Irene, and a real estate crash in 2025. Can you elaborate more? You better move. You better
yeah, you
sell.
better
I'm
move.
yelling. Can you elaborate, sir? I'm not sure what you're saying here.
Yeah.
It goes on. It says I'm yelling timber, but I need a little more information about what you're trying to ask, Billy, or what are you trying to advise? I understand that you're making some comments here, but I don't have a question. So if you could do that, we'd greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, if you allow me, um 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 John, let me read that for people who listen to us, because it's very very important. I'm gonna take my time to read it. That's very important to everybody knows, because
He's just said, okay, so it says you better move, you better sell. So Austin Homes, okay, price is 20%, down 20% from the peak. Thank you for your comment. Okay, so you're trying to tell us that the homes are going down in Austin. It's never happened since the GFC. Okay, so not to get political here, but do you think the change of our new president is going to change this? I mean, there have been a lot of things that went wrong in the economy, sir. I don't have your first name. Uh, there were a
yeah.
lot of things that went wrong. Some things that were done by people intentionally. Some were done because they thought they knew better, but they didn't. So, what is your advice? Obviously, being in the market, what would you advise our listeners and viewers tonight? I know you're saying sell, but are you just saying that to be careful, or do you see the market coming back up, or what else do you see, sir?
Yeah, that's a nice question. I would like to understand too. Yeah, so Mr. John, so yeah, so everybody should be and should invest their money in real estate, and everybody can do. So they just have to have someone who can guide them. So they have someone like who knows the industry, so they can guide them. And sometimes people do that mistake, like they go by themselves and they don't really understand the process, and after a while they did say, oh no, that's not good. Well, let's say I invest my money and it's not what I expected, because you didn't have good someone who can guide you to, can explain it, because you cannot be in everything. Because I don't know, like but there was no presentation for me to know where exactly you're doing. Let's say you're a medical like person. So if I give you a boat, you cannot like do a mechanic on the boat, because you're not a mechanic of boat, right? So you will never know what how you, so you will mess it up. You would mess it up after trying, because you don't know, you don't have any knowledge about it. So I will definitely suggest someone to anytime, so you would like to invest money or thinking about like to have a
So, Billy, I want to just shed some light for some people because people are probably wondering what does he mean by GFC. I want to just clarify this. So, in
okay.
real estate, the GCF is actually what I think this gentleman is meaning to, not the GFC but the GCF, the general collateral financing, which term used in financial markets, particularly the concept of repo transactions where a lender can use a broad range of securities as collateral without specifying specific assets up front. Essentially mean the lender can choose from a general basket of securities to secure the loan. I think that's what you mean. So I don't think you mean GFC. I think you mean GCF. And so what happened was when people lied about their incomes and things like this, the market crashed. Now, and then that's why Fannie Mae and all these other people had these big issues. And now they require you to have verified income because the mortgage and the building industry has gotten hit. I think that's what you're referring to, sir. Am I correct? Don't know if he's still with us. So I think the importance, Billy, is that people need to understand, you know, how are they gonna buy this? And I would tell you that if you're gonna buy property, don't use your primary money.
Don't you
Uh,
know? Yeah.
you should use
The,
money
the,
that you've set aside that's not an emergency money. You should take
yeah,
money that you need every day, a third. You should take money that you need for your expenses. You have money that you need for your clothes, and you have money that you save. The money that you save, you shouldn't take all of that money. You should
yeah,
take maybe a third or a half of that money because that money you might need for a rainy day something. You know,
yeah,
maybe your boiler breaks or your air conditioning breaks. So you always want to act on the side of being conservative. And if you can do that and you're not in a rush, you have a better opportunity of taking your investment and making it work for you. But these people that come to you and say, you know, they want to buy a house, they've never bought anything in their life, and you know they're giving away every penny in their savings account. That's not what you should
yeah.
be using to buy a second house.
That's a really big mistake. That's a
But many realtors will tell them, "Oh, you got to put it down. You got to take a risk." Not that
yeah,
kind of a risk.
yeah,
Not that kind
yeah,
of a risk. You don't take
yeah.
your savings. You don't take your money that you've been saving for Social Security. You
Because
don't take that money. That's not what you do.
no, yeah, because look, the thing is people they don't understand. Look, you have in that, John, that something like economy education, because people they don't understand. For example, let's say you're gonna invest money in an apartment, but remember you still have to eat. You still have your personal life, like you have to worrying on the personal life, like keep doing the same thing you used to do. So before still like continue invest in that in that property you want to be the owner, and also keep paying the mortgage on bank. So you have to very, like, that's why For example, the other day, there's someone like contact me. Hey, I would like to buy an apartment. So we had a Zoom together, and at the end of the day, I told her, okay, so I will definitely encourage you to be the owner of that apartment, but uh, based on what we discussed, I'm not sure you're ready right now. And is
Yes. That's a good point. And when I want to say the word ready, I don't want to say that as a negative thing. I want to say that you're not ready yet.
you're not ready yet?
Not ready
Exactly.
yet. It's not that you're
Yeah.
never going to be ready. It's that
No,
you're
not
not
at all.
ready yet.
You're not ready yet. So that's what that's at the end of the Zoom. That's why she says, okay, yeah, Billy, thank you so much, because for me for me as a broker, I would definitely, okay, yeah, you were gonna buy, so let's do the sales, but I cannot see like that because I have to see the client too. So I take my time and explain her everything when it comes to that decision and the benefit, and yes, the effort that you will need to do. So I tell her, okay, you're at the end of the day, so it's you're not ready yet. So let's get ready. Let's get prepare yourself better. So maybe after 6 months or after 1 years, that there you will be okay to ready to do that move, but not yet. People have to understand that. That's why since the beginning we mentioned. So that's very important. Before I will advise anybody to be in real estate. I will advise anybody not to do real estate, but to invest your money in real estate, because instead of to all the money in your bank and stuff like that, because the bank will still like, you know, give that loan or use your money to give loan to different person, then your money is still there in the bank and you're not doing anything with. But if you invest that money in on a property, in any commercial a property, after 2 years, that $1,000 you invest will be like 2,000. You will exactly, it will increase. But before you take that decision, you have to find someone, a real estate agent or someone who knows has the process is going, in order for you to be better educated about it before you take that decision, because it's not something easy. Because any apartment, like we took the less the right now on the real estate market, even in United States, or on the Caribbean country like Dominican Republic, which is on the best, which is on the country right now, which is like, growth, very fast with the real estate, because there's a beautiful unit, beautiful project in the Dominican Republic. However, at least to have to be an owner, you're supposed to have at least $6,000, and that's is that an easy money. So $60,000 is not like something I'm gonna, So you have to think about it.
I think you got to think about, but I also think you got to think about the things that, you've got to think about what could go wrong. So if you're buying a house, a lot of times you see these programs, like Bob Vila, Rest His Soul, and all those other people, and they come on. I always love these people. The couple, they come on, and they just bought, honey, they just bought this new home, and they're having pizza. And well, what are we gonna do, honey? Well, we're gonna put a sprinkler in tonight. Oh, let's finish the pizza, and then we'll start digging the holes, and tomorrow we can run the pipes. And then by the end of the day, we probably could turn the water on. I mean, it doesn't work like that. So they
It
have the
doesn't work
pizza.
like that.
They start. They tell you they're having a problem with it. Now it's a show. You have to realize it's a show, right? So
Yeah.
yes, they're having a problem. Their problem is something very minor because they've done this before. Now they say they've never done it before. Now they may have not used this vendor before, but they've used another vendor. And oh, hon, what's the matter? I'm having problems with the pole. Oh, I'll come over and help you. It just, I don't know. We've done this before. Yeah, it's just something. It's not hooking. All right, so now I'll get that. All right, he'll take care of that for me. Like, so now we're going to show you about the different pieces in that. And people think, oh, well, this is so easy. Or they say you can put an alarm in. It's like, it's not 5 minutes. I mean, I do this for a living. I'm an engineer. So it's like, you have to realize that this is not your job. So if
Yeah.
you're going to do these things, you're going to have to hire somebody. And you might want to save money, but first of all, you're not licensed. That's number one. You're going to have to hire an electrician. You're going to have to hire a plumber. So if you think you're just going to flip a house and make $150,000, that's not happening. You've got to understand not only the capital you need. Okay, well, you got a credit card, big deal. So now you charge your credit card $100,000. Now you have no way to put the house
That's
on the market. You've done a beautiful job, and your credit card payments due, and no one's even looking at your house.
Exactly. And also you have to think about the furniture after you get that house, after you get that unit. You have to think about the furniture to buy the
Well,
furniture,
they
to
went
buy
to
everything.
IKEA and they put everything together after dinner. But you can't. That's not a typical world. Like that's not. That's a show. That's not
Yeah.
a. Or when they come in, like, oh, this person's got a problem. Oh, we're just gonna go to Disney. They're gonna go to Disney World and they're gonna redo the house, like the makeovers. That's a show.
That's a
And
show.
and yes, they do it, but it's costing them millions to
Yeah.
build
Yeah.
a couple $100,000 home. They
Yeah.
also have 4 or 5 construction companies that are on their thing. They got the TV people, and they're doing it for a charity. Somebody that has a breathing problem. So I think when you decide that you want to buy a piece of property, I think the real reason is why. If
Is
you're
why.
trying to buy the property to make extra money, great. What kind of time are you going to have to put into that property? And if you don't
Absolutely.
have the time, do you have the extra money to pay a super or to pay a
Yeah.
maintenance person?
Yeah.
Uh, I have somebody I know. I don't know. I know a person that was struggling to get into a home, and they actually were homeless for a long time. They got into a
Wow.
home. Unfortunately, they got into this home, and what I found was, first of all, they should have never gotten into this home. When they got into the home, I was seeing all kinds of things wrong. Their plugs, when you plug things in, they would just fall out. So
Wow.
I said to the lady, "Where's your CO?" She says, "We don't." She said, "We don't do anything fancy like that here." I said, "Well, you need a CO when you move in." She says, "Well, they don't do that over here." So it was a low income type of property house, and they basically have a situation where a lot of people are rent control and stuff like that. And if you go and complain about the conditions, because I looked into this for her, if you go and complain to the town about what's going on, yes, they'll get out there and tell your landlord to fix it. But in the meantime, they may evict you. So this is what you have to realize, that if you own a piece of property, you've got to bring it up to code, or you could face big fines from the town or from the state. So I think it's great that somebody's motivated to do this, but this is not a this is not an overnight get rich
Is
money scheme.
decision, like, just, you have to prepare yourself, you have to get ready, you have to investigate about it, and don't ask many questions. You can ask to your the first thing. Let's repeat that again. The first thing, everybody should invest their money in a property and piece of property. Absolutely, I will definitely advise someone to do it, because look, let's also just make to break it down, like, John, as I mentioned, if you allow me to, let's make a break it down to
Well,
explain
we're almost at the end of our show, so I need you to kind of summarize maybe some last points because we're just about out of time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what I would say is the benefit of have like be an owner, it's a different, like, because real estate also have the country, like, it's increased the economic country, family and everything, and also bring happiness and family. Finally, when you get, like, when the family, husband and house and children, they're in their place, their own place, they're so happy. So that's the benefit. That's a good part. And at the end of the day, so when you achieve this goal, or like the this dream, like your house dream, it's so amazing. But what we're trying to explain to people who listen to us tonight, you just have to be ready. You just have to be ready to make sure you can take that decision properly. And the first movement you have to do is get contact with someone who knows about it, like a real estate agent. Ask them many questions that you can, in order for you to know everything that you're gonna need before you take that decision, because it's not something like you're gonna do like overnight and you just
I
like
would
move on.
reach out to somebody in closing. I'd reach out to someone that, not just a real estate agent, but someone that is involved with, if you're going to do investment property, somebody's involved in the type of property that you want, to make sure that you get the right advice, because
Exactly.
you want to make sure that you plan for this
Yeah.
and that you can take a certain percentage of your income and put it toward a mortgage or whatever it is. And also, what will you do if you lose your job? How will you pay the mortgage if you did lose your job?
Yeah.
How will you handle that as a backup plan?
as a backup
Well,
plan. Yeah.
Billy, I want to thank you very, very much for joining us on the DB Talk Show. And I'll just turn this over to you, Daniel. Let's see, is there anything else you want to wrap up and say or ask Billy?
Yes, so basically, I want to thank both of you for this wonderful debate about real estate. Since the Bible says the real treasure on earth people can invest is real estate, because real estate is wonderful thing through the whole history of humanity. From the Bible, people have animals, land. We say land is real estate because people never leave money on the account in the past. They leave lands, out of lands for generation to generations. And it's
Mm-hmm.
only people that can enjoy wonderful benefit to build houses because the fathers left them lands, and the
Mm-hmm.
lands they can build on them, or they can sell them, or rent them to somebody. What Billy is approaching tonight is very important, that everybody that has many hundred and thousand dollars in the bank, it could be goods, could be pesos, whatever money you have, evil. Don't let this money in the bank, just invest them. Because whenever you don't invest, it doesn't grow. It's like you get some green, some seed, you don't put them in your jar. That seed will never multiply. But then you put that seed in the ground, and that seed will produce crops for you. And then I believe that's a wonderful topic that Billy and you, John, brought to the table to our listeners. And then, does it matter how much you can invest? Invest something. You cannot afford to buy a house that costs, many thousand. Buy what you can afford. Start later. Because I remember my mom bought a house when I was a little boy. It's not a big house, but a big house. When she passed away, that house helped me so that I can go to some people's house to sleep. Even see, my mom didn't make that investment when she passed away when I was 16. I got a chance to live in my home back in the days in my home country, Haiti. And both of you listening, I'm going to end the show. Billy, I have one question for you. And then what you can encourage people to do, because people are afraid of investment because they don't trust many real estate. What assurance you can give to a listener to tell them, don't worry, if you choose us, you're gonna be disappointed. What message of insurance you can tell to our listeners tonight?
The best message is, um first of all, that decision, it's one of the best decision, because as you just explained something right now. But I was sorry about it. Your mother passed away, and but she leaves something to you, and you have
Yes,
something. You're not homeless, so
yeah. In the
that
past,
in the past, exactly.
when I was a
So
little boy.
people like, exactly. So will invest and will list, that's a good thing. But the only thing that it's bring to that too is, like, investigate about it, like, ask question, and if you feel like you can do it, go for it. Go for it, because at the end of the day, after you get this house dream, you gotta be happy. The wife's gotta be happy. That night will be a very nice night for the family, and the kids also will be happy.
Billy, to tell you that I was ignorant to real estate. I remember one day a friend that I met told me, Daniel, I'm gonna sell you part of my property. But the property was in the countryside. In the countryside, people was afraid to go there because people looking for thing in the main city. And I tell the guy, no, no, I don't want thing in the countryside. I would like to live in the capital. And then now I never met him anymore. Maybe he sell it. Now I said, I'm so sorry, I didn't buy it. When I want to spend my vacation, I could go there in the campo to live it. But I didn't understand that because an investment is about how you want, where you want to invest at. But do where you can. If you cannot invest in capital, invest in the campo because land will never diminish the value. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay, I'm going to say something to say to end the show tonight. About you, John, let's say something.
I want to say this is something really important. It's our master topic we started yesterday, and it's all about preparing for opportunities. That's what our topic is this week. And I want to say that real estate is something you prepare. It's an opportunity so that you're able to grant other opportunities, not just for yourself, but for family and friends. A house can do so many great things, parties, etc. But
Mhm.
when we prepare for an opportunity, as opposed to just expecting it, that's when the real magic happens. Prepare and your success will be a reality.
Yep, that's true. That's true. And you, Billy, is something to end the show tonight? One thing.
No, no, for me everything is good. So, uh, I would say the same thing with John. So prepare yourself. Do invest in real estate instead of the money like the all money on the bank. So do it on the real estate because the lane will never destroy. The lane will never, So you just have to think about it and organize yourself and be happy with your family.
Land is the best. I love land because land, any earthquake cannot break the land. Anything cannot break the land will always there. And beside that, we will bury in the land. It will never die. We
Yeah.
will, yeah, it will live for the next generation to come. Anyway, thank you guys for being part of the B Talk show tonight. And every listeners that been watching this wonderful show, thank you so much for your time. May God keep on blessing you. And I wish everybody Merry Christmas. Those have been watching through YouTube channel and Facebook Live. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and I can say wonderful night, wonderful week. Merry Christmas, everybody. God bless. Keep the good work. Bye bye.
Bye.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas,
We end the
everyone.
show
Merry
tonight.
Christmas.
Bye bye.